Greetings and welcome to Wizards of Fun. My name is Eric, and today I am uploading what is the first of hopefully many of what I'm calling the Wizards of Fun AUDIOCAST. So rather than doing a video with my face and a bunch of edits that takes time, it's quite simply me turning on the microphone, rambling about a particular topic in regards to sorcery, and uploading it. So my goal with this is to be able to upload fairly frequently. I, like a lot of others who play this game, are, full-time working adults with kids. And sometimes it can be hard to get a video out in time when you'd like. So I kind of want to try a few different types of videos on this channel and to kind of see what direction we go into. But I think doing an audio cast would always be something that I would be interested in doing. We can pick a topic and just ramble on it. So this first episode doesn't necessarily have a very focused topic, I'll admit. I'm just going to kind of talk through who I am, what this channel's goals are, and kind of just what I'm thinking moving forward, and also a little primer for those who are maybe new to sorcery and have no idea what I'm talking about. So, welcome to episode 1, the first audio cast here on Wizards of Fun. My name is Eric, like I mentioned. I'm a player who has kind of dipped in and out of trading card games throughout my whole life. As a kid, I grew up in the late, I was born in the early 90s, but really I was a kid of like the late 90s, early 2000s. And so growing up, me and all my friends, we collected Pokemon. That's like when Pokemon came out, right? In 97, 98 here in the US. So we all collected the card game. None of us knew how to play it. I'm sure a lot of others listening can relate to that. And I think even modern Pokemon, isn't that how it goes these days anyway? But where they just collect and don't play the game. But yeah, so we did a lot of Pokemon, and then that bled into, or evolved, I guess, no pun intended, into Yu-Gi-Oh! So that was a game we did, at least we thought we knew how to play. When we were in middle school, we'd go to the local game store. Parents could drop us off there and we'd hang out all day. They'd have events going on. I remember just having good memories with Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid, having kind of the autonomy to buy one of those Yu-Gi-Oh! Tin. It was kind of like I guess what you would call a fat pack in Magic. Well, they don't call it that now, but they call it like a bundle box. It was this cool tin that was themed from one of the characters. So it was either Yugi or Seto Kaiba or Joey, who are the main characters from the anime series, and or some of the main ones. Anyways, it would come with some packs, and within the first tin I bought, I got 2 pieces of Exodia, which for those that don't know, well, if you don't know what that is, it's fine, don't worry about it. But just a card that's worth some money. And so I remember just as a kid, it felt so cool being able to go to the store clerk and say, hey, I want to trade these in for store credit. I'd get that store credit and then buy another tin. And in the next tin, I got another piece of Exodia. And with my remaining store credit from the first tin, was able to buy a third tin. Like, to this day, it just stuck with me. Like, that was such a cool feeling. And I'm kind of, man, this is going to be quite a ramble. I'm just going to warn you. I have a lot I want to say, which is why I kind of started this. And my thought was going into that thought, or I guess what made me think relating to sorcery, was I very recently did that as an adult. I went to SCG-Con Houston, which, by the way, if you guys have not seen, or if you did happen to see, thank you first of all for watching. I uploaded a video on my channel. It's called SCG-Con Houston Recap. So if you haven't seen it and would like to check it out, please go do so. But for those who did, I just want to say thank you, because overall it got, I think, positive. It was positively, received. So sorcery is still a very new and a fairly small community, but is very passionate. And I just feel like, I don't know, I was worried going to the event that I was maybe going to be annoying with my camera. I was trying my best not to be in people's way and but I got the opposite reaction. People were very receptive, very welcoming, and saying, hey, are you filming? Like, what's your channel? I think right now, the more the merrier with content for sorcery right now was kind of the impression that I got. So I just want to say thank you, because I even received some messages from people at Eric's Curiosa who make the game, giving me, just saying, hey, thanks for making a video and coming to the event. So I just, that went a long way with me. And I just want to say I really, really appreciate it. So, so on that thought of flipping cards. So going to SCG-Con Houston, if you watch the video, there are some promo cards and some rare pulls that I got from my Dragon Lord sets that just as a couple over the last week, I've uploaded for sale on the Discord marketplace. Not because I don't have sentimental value for the cards and want to keep them forever. It's that I kind of made the decision, okay, what kind of player do I want to be with sorcery? What kind of collector do I want to be? And I'm sure I could talk about this in a whole separate audio cast, in another episode, but I've landed on, I want to be the player. I want to be someone who owns one playset of every card to be able to experiment and just have fun trying and brewing all sorts of decks. So rather than collecting and keeping my really rare cards as a part of the collection, I would rather sell those cards if I don't necessarily need them in order to fund having all of the pieces of the game in order to play any deck that I want, if that makes sense. So thinking back to middle school me, flipping cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, selling it right back to the store to buy more cards, I got to do that very recently in the last week because I, with permission from Mrs. Wizards of Fun as well, was able to sell enough of my cards to fund a second trip out to SCGCon Vegas. So at the time of this recording, it's about 3 weeks from the time of this recording. So they're doing another Star City Games convention in Las Vegas, which will be the final one for I think it's the final sanctioned, or the final convention for Sorcery of the year before Gothic comes out. And then the next one isn't until SCGCon Portland, I believe, at least in the US. I'm not sure if in Australia or in Europe they're doing any other events around that time. But for myself being on this side of the pond, the next 2 events to look forward to that I'm aware of, besides my local game store's cornerstones, are SCGCon Vegas and SCGCon Portland. I live in Portland, so I'm going to that one for sure. But I kind of just had the thought, and I asked my wife, I'm like, if I sold enough cards to fund the flight and the hotel, could I go? What do I need to do to, cash in on some husband points to be able to go? And so that big shout out to her, because she did give me her blessing, and I am planning to go. So if you are planning to go to Vegas, please let me know in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you there. It should be fun. In Houston, I only got to go for 2 of the 3 days, but this time I'll be at all 3 days. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also planning to record more of the matches themselves. My first trip to Houston, I didn't quite have all the right camera gear to film the matches from an overhead view. So this time I'm wanting to focus more on that. I want to focus more on, at least this is what my thinking is. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get there and there'll be new ideas for things we want to, the last video I got to record a lot of the artists, which was great, and got interviews with them. But looking at the Vegas event, it's the same artists. So although I might get a few things signed, I'm leaning toward, okay, I think I'm going to be more at the tables playing, recording more of the matches, and maybe if people give me their blessing, recording some small interviews with some of the players, just, hey, what does Sorcery mean to you? I think that would be a cool side of the convention to cover. Yeah, so that's just a little background for me. I've dipped in and out of trading card games my whole life. I didn't actually play Magic until the first time I played Magic was in 2010. I believe that was the year for the set called Return to Ravnica. At the time, I was coming off of a basically 3 or 4 year, I guess I'll use the word addiction, but I mean it in a not negative way, of a very, very strong dedication to competitive StarCraft 2. At the time, StarCraft 2 was very, very popular. This was at the time that League of Legends was just coming out. So StarCraft 2 was considered at the time to be, if not one of the biggest esports at the time. And I was very, very much, I was in college, I was single, and all I did was play StarCraft. It was all I wanted to do. I flew out to the conventions to watch the pro players. I was a fan of the pro players. It was literally a lot of people in this space that also play card games and Dungeons and Dragons and World of Warcraft, stuff like that. They're also into, traditional sports. They watch baseball, they watch basketball. I'm not a guy who watches sports. I'm not proud of it or bash on sports at all. It's just they never really caught on for me. I was always more into snowboarding and skateboarding and I guess nerdier stuff Magic and trading card games, right? So it was for me, StarCraft became my first sport. I knew all the players, I knew the drama, I knew the team trading, I knew everything about the game at the time. And that went on, well, let's see, I think the expansion was out for 2 or 3 years before the second expansion came out, and the name of it's escaping me. And it was Wings of Liberty, and then another one, and then Legacy of the Void, and I can't remember the second one, but I didn't really play the second one. Anyways, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that I was very, very, admittedly addicted to the game, but I'd say in a positive way. I loved the game. And when the second expansion came out, I kind of was, taking a break from StarCraft. So at the time, I was looking for another competitive itch or another competitive game to scratch that competitive itch. And for whatever reason, Magic kind of came up. I was like, I always wanted to play Magic. I think in high school, just like the friends I had and stuff, I was maybe a little too embarrassed to actually dive into Magic. But I know looking back, I always had that interest. I was always playing nerdier games like RuneScape and stuff, but it was always kind of like secretly. But as I was getting older, I went, screw it. Like, I'm a nerd. I'm playing these games. I don't care what anyone thinks. So I think I finally mustered up. I mean, I was already playing StarCraft, so I think at that point I was already leaning into my nerdiness. But I think that's why it took me so long to get into Magic, was just because as a younger kid, I was too self-conscious. And, you're younger and you're trying to, it's awkward times socially with friends at school. But after a while, you become an adult and go, I'm going to do exactly what I want to do. I'm going to play StarCraft for 2 years competitively. As competitively as possible. I wasn't pro or anything, but I'd say I was like higher rank, but anyway, so I somehow stumbled onto Magic, and at the time, Magic Arena didn't exist. Basically, Magic Arena is the online client, so you can play at any time, and you can draft it at any time as well. They had a version of it called Magic Online, which still exists, but it's kind of a separate entity. It's very it's archaic comparatively. It's not very modern. It requires a lot of hotkeys. You have to manually catch all of the triggers, which is really challenging. So as a new player, that was really intimidating for me. But I did find myself going to a local game store in downtown Portland once a week to draft Return to Ravnica Magic. And I loved it. It really, I was like, oh, this is great. Like I'm like, shifting right from a huge addiction to StarCraft, going right into a Magic draft competitive environment was a lot of fun. Now, at the time, maybe they existed, but I was not aware at the time of any like resources for learning how to get better at drafting, like statistically. Like at this point, draft is like, of course, it's a ton of skill, but there are so many tools out there that you could basically just like run spreadsheets and get through a draft well, especially if you're playing from your computer on Magic Arena. There are tools like 17 Lands, for example, where as you're doing the draft, it will tell you like you should grab this card because statistically people win with this card more than that card. Now, you have to take all of that data with a grain of salt because you're still playing against another human being, and it is it's just data. So there things will get lost within the context of like how that person won that game. What did they misplay? My point being, though, is at the time, my only way to really get better at the game was just to go once a week and play. So I would go play, and if I messed up or played badly, it would bum me out for the entire week. Just like my old man who watches a lot of baseball. If the Seattle Mariners lose really badly, it ruins his whole week, or at least his whole next couple days until the next game, right? So that's how I felt. It was kind of like, StarCraft was my first sport. But now I'm going into this new game, and when I lose, man, it bums me out. But it motivates me too. I want to get better. But I just didn't really have a lot of resources at the time, which they do now exist. If you want to get into draft, man, like there are more than enough resources for you to dive into. And that's pivoting a little bit. That's a part of Sorcery. Although I've been really, really enjoying the game the last few months. I've only been playing for a couple months. I came right from Magic, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But I haven't drafted very much, and so I'm really excited. I'm not wanting to rush into Sorcery, I guess is my thought here. Is that what I'm kind of noticing. Like, as much as I really, really love draft and Magic, in Sorcery, I enjoy the game so much. I enjoy the art so much. I think the gameplay of it is so more kitchen table. Not saying it can't be competitive, but just in its nature, you can kind of take back moves sometimes depending on if there was new information revealed or not. People seem to be overall just having fun. I have some of the most fun when I lose in Sorcery. So I guess at that point, I've only done sealed drafts so far, and I've had a lot of fun with them. But I can't, that's another part of Sorcery that I really look forward to getting into, because there are a lot of draft players. They have online leagues through, I believe, the Sorcerers at the Core Discord, which is based in Europe, but they have like US based time zone players who play once a week. So I'll have to look into that. Just like a thought for myself, I should look into that more. So I've only really been playing constructed sorcery, and my goodness, man, and you'll forgive me that these audio casts really are just me rambling. I hope that's okay. Like this, I think that's why intentionally I'm not calling it a podcast. This isn't very professional. I'm just wanting to talk about the game. Yeah, okay, yeah. So like when I go onto my YouTube feed, right? I listen to a lot of YouTube when I'm at work. When I am just at the computer and have some busy work to do, I'll throw on a podcast or something. When I go into YouTube and I hit refresh on all of my favorite channels and I see a new YouTube video talking about sorcery, even if it's a topic that I already know about like very well, and I see, oh, Lord of Itza, Josh, he uploaded a video talking about X. Hell yeah, I'll pull it open and listen to it just to be able to hear his opinion or maybe reaffirm my own thoughts on whatever the topic is. So I guess my point is that I hope that these audio casts maybe fill that kind of void, I guess. It's almost a pun with sorcery, but of just because it's a newer game, sometimes you'll refresh and there's no new content because there's just, one set a year. There's only so many content creators. And so this is a new channel, but if you guys do enjoy this sort of just having someone talk about sorcery, I mean, of course, please let me know, but also leave constructive criticism too. If it's like, dude, you ramble way too much, because that's probably what this is going to be for a while. And then I may have more focused. I've got kind of a list going of things I want to go over. Because as you can tell, I could talk about this for hours. Which is why I just wanted to start the mic, get one of these out, and we'll kind of go from there. So anyways, back to Magic. So I really enjoyed Return to Ravnica. Again, I was only going once a week, and it was my first set. So my proudest moment with playing Magic at that time was there was one night of draft where I took first place. And as a newer player and someone who really felt like the imposter syndrome, like, man, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I ended up getting a win, like getting first place. To this day, I'm proud of it. You know what I mean? It felt so good. I was so happy. I just got some store credit. And I remember even the night that I won, people were like, dude, congrats. Like, you did really well. Like, what was your deck? And the first thing I say was like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, this is my deck. And they're like, don't know what you're doing. Like, you took first place. Like, of course, you know what you're doing a little bit, dude. And they're like, give yourself some credit. I was like, oh, thanks. Like, I appreciate that. And I just have that memory. I was proud of being able to win, but it was also a good learning experience of like, dude, like, take a compliment. If someone gives you a compliment, it's fine, Anyways, yeah, so that was the start of Magic for me. From there, Gate Crash had come out, and that was my first time realizing, like, in that game, like, oh, there's new sets that come out every 3 months. Gotcha. Well, I don't think I really want to learn another set because I felt like I had mastered Return to Ravnica, at least in my head, and definitely not on a professional level, but just at my local game store, I was feeling pretty good. So when the new set came out, I was like, oh, I have to learn another set. Okay, I think I'm going to take a break. And I took a break from Magic at that point. Fast forward to just a few years ago when they did the first Universes Beyond with Lord of the Rings. Dun, dun, dun. I know. We could talk about that for a while. A lot of controversy and a lot of thoughts behind Universes Beyond. And I will get to that in just a moment. But Lord of the Rings, as the first Universes Beyond set at the time, was a really, really good set. They really did a good job with it. Just mechanically with the drafting part of it, a lot of the artists did really, really cool renditions of like what their, interpretation of the characters from the book would look like. And I just thought it was like the artwork was beautiful. I mean, who doesn't love Lord of the Rings, right? If you're in this space, you probably like Lord of the Rings to some effect, or at least know of it. The draft format for it was really good. And despite it being in Magic as a non-Magic set, it was very high fantasy. So it fit thematically. And it was also not standard legal. We all know where this is going, but that was when I got back into Magic. So getting back, I got in for Lord of the Rings just for that set, jumped out again. And then when Bloomburrow came out, so this would have been at the time of this recording, just about a year ago, maybe a year and a few months. There was a set that came out called Bloomburrow. It was a new universe in Magic. It was basically like a Peter Rabbit, Winnie the Pooh kind of vibes, where it's a world of critters and animals and like mice tribes who like, collaborate with the frog tribe to take out the fox. It's all of that. It's as cute and like ridiculous as it sounds, but it was a great set. It was thematically cool. It was new. It felt like Magic, and it was a lot of fun. So I was looking for a game to play at the time. My son was born just a few months prior, and I was looking for a game that I could play that doesn't take all of my time. So Magic's pretty good for that because you can just play once a week on Friday Night Magic if you want. And that's still a good, you still get to go 4 times a month. Hey, it's the end of my week. It's Friday night. I have that to look forward to. I'm going to go play some Magic. Like that's, as a working father, that's really fun. So I thought it was a good time to get back into the game. And then at that time, I went in to start getting into Bloomberg, and I was talking to the store owner where I live, and he goes, yeah, man, like this was at the time. Okay. So just put yourself into my shoes about a year ago, because this is no longer the case. But he was saying, yeah, Wizards, they're really trying to push Standard. Like Standard's been kind of in a lull ever since COVID came out. They're really trying to revitalize it. So coming out in a few months, they're coming out with a set called Magic Foundations, and it's basically going to be a core set just for Standard that is legal for 5 years and maybe forever. So that got me really excited for the idea of promoting and supporting Standard in Magic. I was like, oh, I've only ever done Draft in Magic because Standard is kind of expensive. You have to keep up with it. For those who don't know, Standard, it's okay. At that time, it was only cards from the most recent 2 years of sets. And at the time there was 4 sets a year. So you'd have 8 sets rotating. And then every few months, I forget how they do it, but it's like every few months, some of the sets would rotate out, or once a year, all 4 would rotate out, something to that effect. But essentially you'd have 2 years to play with the cards that you get. But it kept it fresh, because if there was ever a broken card or something that just wasn't fun to play, you knew that it would eventually rotate out. So it kept it fresh, kept it fun. You did have to keep up with it. It's quite expensive, but at the time I said, dude, I've always wanted to play Standard. It sounds like Wizards is about to support it. Let's do it. So Bloomburrow, followed by Duskmourn, followed by Foundations, followed by Aether Drift, which was not my favorite set. And then after that, I think was Tarkir Dragonstorm, I believe. I'm starting to forget now. I think that's the case. And then, okay, so fast forward a few months, I'm getting into Standard. I'm like, this is going to be great. I'm talking to people at work about it. I'm like, guys, I know everyone plays Commander these days, but Standard, it's coming back. It's coming back huge. Let's do it. Among my, friend group in that realm, and you could even ask my wife because she saw me playing all the time, I was the guy supporting in my group Standard the most. No one else was really like, I don't know, Standard, I don't know. I'm like, guys, it's going to be great. And of course, right when Foundations, I think it was right before it came out, I think it was like a month before Foundations came out, as I'm like fully invested mentally and financially into Standard, Wizards announces, hey, by the way, moving forward, 2025, all Universes Beyond sets moving forward are going to be Standard legal. And there's going to be 6 sets next year. Also, one of them Spider-Man. So right then and there, I was very, very, I felt kind of betrayed. It was like, what the heck? You just got me into Standard and now you're making it this is not what I wanted in Standard. My goal with Standard was, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to hit the ground running with it. I'm going to collect every card, within reason. Some of the cards are really expensive. You can't get all of them. But my goal was to have a play set of every single card in Standard, so that no matter what deck becomes the best deck or is just a fun brewed deck, I can build it. And if not, I need maybe just a couple cards to order at the game store a couple nights before the event, right? That was my goal. So fast forwarding, just for sake of time, I basically played Magic for competitive Standard and competitive Draft for that whole year leading up into a few months ago when I switched over to Sorcery. I'm glad I didn't quit when they announced those changes, because I could have gone, you know what? I was excited for Standard, but Wizards, I don't like this. I'm out. I could have done that. Probably should have, honestly. But I'm glad I didn't for a few reasons. I'm glad I didn't because I met a lot of cool people over the course of that year. Some people that I'm like still friends with now outside of Magic. We've gone camping together and fishing, and I'm thankful for that. I learned a lot about just the art of balancing a hobby like a trading card game as an adult on top of a job and a family, right? So what accessories to buy, where all my local game stores are, how these events work, what kind of a community I'm looking for. Oh, this store is a little bit more cutthroat and competitive, where this store is a little bit more casual and fun, and they sell beer at the event. Okay, depending on my mood, I'll go to that store or that store. So over the course of that year, I learned a lot about just how to collect trading card games, I think. But leading up to Spider-Man coming out, I just couldn't do it anymore. I said, you know what? I've invested everything I can in both energy and financially into this standard. I'm trying to support it. No one wants to play it. The Wizards doesn't want to support it. Everything's broken in it. It just seems like it's getting, so I could go on and on. I should probably reiterate and preface. My goal is not to kick down Magic at all. I'm not trying to be negative. This channel is called Wizards of Fun. I probably should have opened the episode with that. I didn't know I was going to talk about Magic, but I don't think I'll bring up Magic a lot on this channel, if ever. This might be the one time I do it. Just to kind of, if people ask, hey, what do you think about Magic? I can maybe point them to this. Just go listen to that. Those are my thoughts. Because I'm very grateful for Magic. Again, like, it's the game that started it all. I think we all have a nostalgia. Not that I played Magic back in the day, like the old school, but I still have a big affinity for it. I own some of those old cards, some of like the revised cards, like just because the art is so cool. And I think that's where Sorcery fits a very necessary, it fits a need right now in the trading card game space community, which is why I think we're seeing so much growth in it lately. I think a lot of people, including me, were getting a bit jaded by whatever game they were playing. For me, it was Magic, and going, I'm trying to support this game. I love this game, and I love trading card games as a whole, but like, this is just, I just can't do this anymore. I can't pretend I'm even having fun doing this anymore. So I was considering taking a break, and that's when I reached into my drawer and remembered, oh yeah, I had ordered these Sorcery beta precons on like the weirdest whim ever. A couple of years ago, I think I saw a Reddit post about it, and this is embarrassing to say, and it's very naive because I'm not this kind of collector, but my thought was the word beta to me, because like in Magic, beta cards are really expensive. I saw the word beta and was like, dude, if this game becomes popular, this beta set might be worth a lot of money. How much is it? $50? I'll buy that. So I ordered it, and I remember at the time regretting it. I'm like, why did I order that? I'm not even like I'm not a flipper. I'm not someone who looks at the market this way. Like, oh, that was a waste of $50, and I put it in a drawer. So fast forward, to a few months ago, and I'm feeling a bit heartbroken with my game of Magic. I'm like, I love this game, but I just think I think I need to step away for a bit. I reach into my drawer and I go, oh, yeah, this game, let's check this out. So as I was opening the box, I pulled up like the subreddit and some YouTube videos, and man, it just clicked. I open these cards up and look at the artwork, and I think a lot of people can relate to that or would agree that the first thing that I think attracts a lot of people to this game is just the art. You could play this game, you could collect this game, you could just watch this game and never actually like play it just to enjoy the artwork, I would argue. It's that good. It's all hand painted. There's no digital. I mean, I'm sure when they scan it, they might have to bump up the saturation here and there, but my point is that they don't use like Photoshop digital brushes or anything like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have to do some sort of between wave 1 and wave 3 beta prints, for example, there's a big saturation boost, right? So, if you call that digital editing, sure. But I think you get my point. These are originally hand painted pieces of artwork that are so pretty. And not only that, the gameplay is basically Magic, but with chess mixed into it, and with like, 2 layers to it, because you can submerge underwater and go underground. And then you have flyers, which are technically on the surface. But then you have the void, and like polar bears can go across the realm. Like, you're like, wow, this, like the cards thematically make sense. What the card is on the artwork, what its name is, and what it does. And the text is also so simple that although reading the card doesn't always explain the card, which is kind of a meme in Magic, they're like, just read the card and it'll tell you what it does, which makes sense. But in this game, they purposefully put less text on the card to make it a bit cleaner. And there is a rule for it somewhere in the codex, but their silver rule in this game is like, hey, if you don't know how a card works, the silver rule is go with whatever makes sense. Like if you were playing Dungeons and Dragons and you push the rolling boulder and you think it works this way, have it work that way for the match you're in, just to keep the game going. And then you can go and look at the FAQ and the codex and ask people later, and you'll slowly learn the game over time. So that's a slightly different thing to Magic, which I think is cool though, because you're playing with friends, it's kitchen table, and you know what? I actually don't know how this works. Let's look it up, and maybe next time we'll figure it out. And everyone agrees, cool, let's move forward. I mean, in a tournament, you'd ask a judge, but I just love that spirit of the game, and I'm now seeing that this audiocast is already approaching 30 minutes, so I'll try to kind of wrap up my thoughts. But in summary, I kind of just wanted to introduce a first episode and give some context as to who I am and where I'm coming from. So I basically got into Magic competitively for a year. My goal was to collect every card in order to brew decks and bring goofy things to the local game store. I found that brewed decks weren't very welcome in Magic because the meta decks destroy them out so much that it's Magic. It's like, I wasn't having fun losing. I was only having fun winning, which means you can't really play with brewed decks unless everyone else agrees to play with bad decks, or like C tier decks. Whereas in Sorcery, I'm having fun just being there, man. As much as I enjoy competitive games and getting sweaty or whatever you want to call it, I'm really enjoying my honeymoon phase with Sorcery, with rose-tinted glasses going, this checks every box of what I was looking for in a trading card game. There's only 2 sets out right now. Gothic comes out soon, but right now there's only, Alpha Beta and Arthurian Legends, and then I guess Dragon Lord is a mini set. I could very realistically, and I probably will soon, own a playset of every single card that exists for this game. I might not have all the promos, I might not have all of the, special one-offs, but I'll be able to play this game fully, and I'm getting in at the from the ground floor here. So as every set comes out, I'm just going to collect them. And, I think it sounds like Eric's Curiosa kind of has like a 5-year plan. Games can always, fumble and mess up and die out. It's a lot of trading card games do that. But I don't know. To me, the next 5 years of Sorcery looks really, really promising. I hope the best for it. And at the very least, right now, we're in a really, really beautiful period of the game that I will always appreciate. Even if the game went under next week, I would go, you know what? Those few months of playing Sorcery with those 2 sets was the best. And I could always draft it. We could maybe make a cube or, whatever. In summary, I'm really, really enjoying Sorcery. I wish I had a little more time to talk more about it, but let's save that for another audiocast just to not let this go too long. And thanks and welcome to my channel. I originally started this channel with the intention of actually making Magic related content with a friend of mine. That friend ended up getting busy, so it kind of got put on the shelf. And now with Sorcery coming out, and I'm so into it, I'm just gonna use that channel. I made all the graphics for it. I own the channel, and let's do Sorcery. So I hope you guys enjoyed the audiocast. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's any critiques, because I really did just turn on the mic and start rambling here. But I would like to have kind of weekly or maybe once or twice a week upload one of these things because they're easy for me to do. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for listening. If you did enjoy it or didn't, or have any like constructive feedback for me on just this sort of format, let me know. Again, my goal here is just to turn on the mic and get some of my thoughts out into the ether because my wife is tired of listening to me talk to her about how cool Sorcery is, because it is cool. It's not her kind of game. But I hope you guys appreciate just having someone else talking about the game. I want to do my part in any way to promote it. And again, please go check out any of my regularly edited videos as well. I'll probably also do some unboxings and also some like local game store match recordings where I narrate over them. So we have a Cornerstone coming up next week, for example. I talked to the store owner and he gave me his blessing to record at least one of those tables. I don't know if I can record like specific tables and move the camera around. But I'm just going to try a few different types of video formats here on the channel, see what kind of sticks, see what I want to lean into. Thank you again. And thanks to everyone that I met at SGCon Houston. Shout out to you guys. I had a great time. People were just so welcoming. It's another part of this community that I'm just surprised by is people are just so welcoming. People are so kind. So let's welcome all new players coming from other games. If they're wanting to check out Sorcery and they're coming to these conventions, I think it's bringing a lot of attention to the game. I think it was number 2 to Magic at Star City Games Convention. So let's be very welcoming and just bring in as many players as we can, but keep the overall community of positivity and support. Keep that going because it's such a beautiful thing. And I think everyone in the community right now really, really appreciates it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time with another video or another audio cast here on Wizards of Fun. Thank you, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.